The call to order for the Parks and Recreation meeting for today, Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. And we have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Bozo,
Here.
Commissioner Brinson,
Here.
Commissioner Philos,
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez, Commissioner Miller, Vice Chair Martinez,
Here.
Chair Ramirez.
Here. Okay. And the meeting do our flag salute. I'd like to lead us. And face the flag. 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Secretary's report.
Agenda was posted on January 30th.
Excellent. And there were at item number 5 on our agenda, and I do want to just for a second. Approval of last minutes, and Emily, I would love to hopefully get your opinion on item 9 from the meeting in November. Just want to make sure that there's some bike and pet stuff that I was clear on. But I wasn't look at that. Item 9 on last month's agenda, approval with what we wrote on that.
Which one were you not sure?
I was just wanting to make sure that there was, I think the thing that I want to do is that outreach, that we want to do some more outreach and about grant applications, if there was any significant, if there was timing issues with this, or if this was just the way it's written is fine. I just want to make sure there was a timing issue that was sensitive that we need to look at.
And make water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, ready. I'll take the motion. If anybody wants to accept the minutes. So I'll second. All in favor of accepting the minutes from November 18th as drafted, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approve the minutes from November. And now item number 6, approval of tonight's agenda. I'll entertain a motion as well. So move. Second. All in favor of accepting the agenda, say aye. Opposed? Okay. And we're at item number 7 for any introductions tonight. Mr. Dowd.
Introductions?
Yes.
Goodness. I think it'd be good to have our 2 new commissioners introduce themselves and we give them a welcome.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Andrew. Let's see, I've lived in Gilroy now for 17 years. I'm an engineer by trade, but I teach up at Mount Donna School. I teach math and science. I live nearby. I live right down here on Felice, and I use the parks. And I have 4 kids, 20 to 12. So we're frequent users of the park. So this is a good use of my time.
Yeah, great. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, great. Would you like to? Yeah.
I'm Greg Felios. I've lived in Gilroy for 12 years. I'm retired now. I worked for my degrees in public health. I worked in the public health medical field for I last 28 years working for Palo Alto Medical. And so then I retired early. I retired at 62. And then after a couple of months, my wife says, 2 aunts will get a job. So you live in Eagle Ridge, so I'm next door. So for the past 8 seasons, at Gilroy Gardens, we don't call them years, we call them seasons. Because you go, you start in March and you end in April. So that's a season, it's not like a full year. So it's like a major league or football league season. So I worked there I went there just for 1 year to volunteer and say, hey, if you need any help. Usually they put you, in the front, passing out, helping with the kids and else. But they said, hey, we really need someone in the foods warehouse. Think you can handle it? Great. So they put me to work. So I worked 8 seasons for the Gilroy Gardens. So then I retired, and then I had time to go to meetings. So I've been going to Gilroy City Council meetings. And I go to all the Gilroy Unified Schools meetings, and so I'm very involved in the Gilroy Unified School District. And that's why being involved in schools and in the city council, saw that Parks and Recreation had, and I'm, oh, parks, I use those, so. Now I wanna be able to learn from what has been done, and how we can get more people involved, and whatever it is that you're doing, I'd like to help out.
Great, thank you. Well, welcome.
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 Thank you.
Right. Okay, item number 8, this is the time in the meeting where we come for anybody who has public comments for items that are not on the agenda. Do you have any? Oh, yeah, please. There's a 3-minute time limit, so just heads up on that.
Yeah, I tested this once, I hope it's on repeat. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners, my name is Malachi Diaz, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm here to request your support in moving forward with a disc golf project concept for Christmas Hill Park that is designed to be safe, low impact, and compatible with existing park uses. Disc golf is played like golf, but instead of clubs and a ball, you throw a disc, like a frisbee, toward a metal basket target. The goal is to complete each hole in the fewest throws using designated tee areas and fairways. The concept is an 18 to 21 basket system split into 2 separate loops. The first would be a 9 to 12 basket ranch loop on the ranch edition side, and the second would be a 9 to 12 basket hills loop on the hillside above the baseball fields. The reason for dividing the project into 2 separate loops is to reduce conflicts, improve safety, and avoid routing play through the highest density areas of the park, such as playgrounds, reservable picnic areas, and active sports zones. My request tonight is focused on the first step. I'm not asking to design for staff to design the layout from scratch. I'm prepared to develop the proposed layout collaboratively with a small group of experienced disc golfers, and I've already mapped preliminary basket locations. What I need from the city is clear, staff-guided framework so that the design is aligned with city standards from the start. Specifically, I'm requesting 3 items. First, respectfully, I request that this project be placed on the next Parks and Recreation Commission agenda as a discussion item. Second, I'm requesting a staff-led site walk or design meeting to identify constraints and requirements, safety buffers and sensitive areas. So the layout can be refined in a way that prioritizes public safety and protects existing park uses. Third, I'm requesting guidance on the review pathway and minimum standards for a pilot, including what documentation you would like to see with a draft layout. For the pilot timeline, I'm proposing a short evaluation period measured in weeks, not months. The intent is to install or temporarily mark the pilot loop, observe usage and compatibility, address any immediate safety or routing adjustments, and then proceed with a more formal request for an expansion. By the next commission meeting, I'll have a more finalized version of the 9 to 12 basket placements for the ranch edition side prepared for staff and commission review. I also brought a book I wrote on disc golf course development, which outlines best practices for safety, routing, signage, and stewardship. Happy to provide it as reference, as well as a written proposal of detailed information for this project. Thank you again for your time and consideration. I would appreciate the commission's support in adding this to the agenda and coordinating with staff site walk so we can return with a clear citywide pilot layout for the ranch edition. Great, thank you.
Thank you. So I want to take a moment now for our new commission members. This is for public comment on items not on the agenda. We can't have a discussion about that, right? Because it's not as a big, it's got to be publicized. So we listen, we take that into consideration. There are points in our agenda later on that you may want to bring it up and put on next, but that's something for discussion later. But right now, thank you for your input.
Sure, my pleasure. Shout out to another math and science teacher. I'm at South
All right,
Bend.
thank you.
Can I leave this?
Yeah,
with you
please.
guys?
Yeah, just put it right there.
Awesome. All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 9, a new business, and this is since we've got new commission members. The term for the chair and vice chair at the Parks and Rec Commission is 1 year. My 1 year is up. So it's time for our commission to select a new chair and a new vice chair. Typically what's done, and this is not a hard fast rule, but typically what's done is the vice chair usually kind of steps up and, you know, you kind of, there's a progression involved, but that doesn't have to be that way. And so, I think it's good to be open about it. I've talked to Javier about him taking over the chair, and he's very time constrained, and that might be an issue. So I think I just want to leave it up to the commissioners. If anybody wants to take the reins as chair, knowing that Andrew, you and Greg are still new, and I would recommend that you just kind of take a wait and see here before nominating yourselves. But so I guess I'll put it to you out there. How do you?
Well,
Yeah.
let's do this formally.
Okay.
So what I asked, and the chair and I spoke about is to kind of make this easier and allow this conversation to actually occur is that the commission basically allow me to become the acting chair for the purposes of the chair selection. And if that is consensus is good, then I'll assume the chair role. And what I'll say is this is, are there any nominations for chair of the Parks and Rec Commission?
Yes,
Can you not do it again?
I could do it again. And really, I'm looking at the three of you. If any of you feel really strongly about it, I would do it again. I would, but this would be my last year, absolutely last year. But I'm looking to you two primarily as you know, you've both been involved. You know the system, so I'm really looking for one of you two that would take the, but if you feel constrained and can't do that, then I'm good with doing it again, but I'd rather have one.
This is the appropriate time to have a discussion.
Well,
I'm not ready to nominate.
the parliamentary procedure says make a motion and a second, and see if there's a second on that, and then see if there's any additional ones. And then what would happen with that is the last one would be the first one taken up under the crazy parliamentary rules. But if there's only one, that's the deal. Sam?
I move that nominate Emily Miller for chair.
Is there a second?
I will second that nomination.
I do, but it's at the time constraint
Yeah.
that comes with.
Being that Andrew and I are new, should we not vote for?
You should vote. Yes, you're absolutely part of the commission. There's no reason for an abstention. There are certain reasons for abstaining from a vote. This isn't one of them. With that.
But you know, it's our first one, and we may not know the. We may not know, we're not informed.
I would say this, I follow the judgment of the folks around the table with you at this point and kind of roll with that.
So we do have a motion, and I have seconded, so.
Are there any, and I'll just for formality's sake, are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I'll close the nomination and we'll call for a roll call.
I think we should nominate Javier.
Yeah.
I'll make nominate Javier.
Is there a second for Javier?
I second.
All right. Are there any others? Seeing none. Okay, so we will take the Javier vote, we'll do a voice vote on this one. Voice vote means
Did
that
we
we'll.
have a short discussion before?
Sure.
So, you like to do it, you're vice chair, but your schedule is impacted. On those days where it impacts, and we have a vice chair perhaps step in and do it, is that?
Yeah.
I say, yeah,
If this is appropriate time, there is a time constraint, right? And it's not necessarily the meetings themselves or a meeting to get the agenda planned. It's everything else that kind of I would like to come with that kind of with the chair, right? All the city council meetings, the outreach event. I think that's when it starts to get a little bit I'm more than happy to step up as chair if I have the commitment from the commission that we kind of take a kind of team approach and maybe divide and conquer. That is something that I am in favor for and will gladly accept the nomination. However, do take that with the information I'm providing now, that I won't be available to attend, most of these outreach events or some city council meetings. I think that would be a beautiful assignment for a possible vice chair to maybe be like the face of the commission per se. And whatnot, revolving kind of community activity and outreach and whatnot. Yeah, so that's kind of where.
Well, I'd like to make a point. So I don't plan on going away. I will still, there's lots of things that we do need to communicate with. For instance, tomorrow there's a big meeting with the school district for joint use. That's a big deal. So for those things, it doesn't have to be just chair or the vice chair, it could be any and all of us. And I do not plan on going away in the next year. I will plan and keep on planning on attending every meeting I can that further our cause and Parks and Rec, advancing our work plan for Parks and Rec. So I can still make that. Sure.
So I hear you accepting the nomination, allowing the vote to continue?
Yes, as long as the
Okay.
commission is on.
I'll before we proceed with that, I'll ask Commissioner Bozo, do you want to withdraw your?
Yes.
Okay, is the second in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So this should make the vote very easy here. Voice vote?
Commissioner Bozo,
Aye.
Commissioner Britton, Commissioner Philos,
Here, yes.
Commissioner Miller, Chair Ramirez. Commissioner Jimenez is absent. No.
6-0.
Yes, and then no abstains.
Congratulations. I will now turn it back to the chair. And I, if I could, just to say, I spoke to the chair about this. This is the best pathway that I've found in my work to allow the chair the opportunity to openly have the conversation equally with everybody else on the table. And I think that worked well, I hope, with that, and allowed you to kind of work your way through the decision making. And I think for the record, it's obvious that there's been no conversations and working behind the scenes on that deal, that this was an open meeting, open act. And I think that's a very positive thing for this commission to be able to say and be reporting to. So, Chair, now is the time for the vice chair selection.
This is it, huh?
This is it, brother. This is it. You take over.
We have one more night, huh?
This is it. You got a vice chair.
Awesome. Next item on the agenda is to elect a vice chair. Are there any nominations?
I would nominate Emily.
I'll second.
I second.
To it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Just for sake of parliamentary procedures, ask if there's any other nomination, if you would.
Any other nominations for vice chair?
Seeing none. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
There we go.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Got this, Emily. All right.
You're running this show, man. Come on. Come on. You're running this show now.
All right. That being said, I do want to be very efficient with our time. So we'll try to move the agenda prompt. Okay, so moving on to new business, item 9.2, Commissioner Parks and Assignments.
So, since we have new folks in here, the practice has been that the commissioners select parks that they will adopt, at least in the context of visiting occasionally, reporting back in terms of issues, concerns, good things, bad things, all things in between and everything that deal. And, since we have new commissioners, it seemed like the appropriate time to go through this and run through there. And since Jesse's not here, you can give him all the ones that you don't want. So I
Got
guess
it,
that works, right? But, I think the easiest way is just to go down the line and say, who's willing to take it on. We have community parks here, it's, we roughly look at three, some with the four, some of them are obviously like Butcher is not much of a park to look at for many reasons, but which we hope to make some improvements there. So probably the easiest way is just to go down. Who has Carriage Hills right now? Can you look on the list there?
I have.
You do? Okay. So I guess the question is, Sam, do you wish to continue that? Does anybody wish to take Carriage Hills?
Sure, I'll take it, but if someone else wants it, that's okay.
Anybody have a burning desire for Carriage Hills? So we'll call that Sam. Gateway,
Yeah, I have it,
you have that one? Anybody?
that's it. What would you call that? Is it a pocket park? Very small park.
Yeah, that one's almost reaching, they call it Vest Pocket Park. But Butcher I'd call a Vest Pocket. Gateway I'd call a pocket park.
There's not much there.
There's not much there.
But I'll take it.
Okay. Miller.
I would like to take Miller just because I live a block from there, so.
You're not gonna give Emily that one? Just 'cause her
I
name's
know
there?
that does. It really does.
That was my part also, but I yield to Louis.
And remember, what did Jesse have? What did Jesse have?
Jesse, we have Farrell, Forest, and San Ysidro.
So we have Farrell coming up for us, San Ysidro. There we go, right in a row. Anybody want any of those three, or do you wanna just keep Jesse going on those?
Any other new commissioners wanna, no, I think we could keep it going.
Let's see. Okay. Rainbow. Who had Rainbow?
I have the next three on here.
Okay. Los Animas, we had two people kind of looking at Los Animas.
We did, it
didn't
was
we?
myself and former Commissioner Vargas.
And Vargas.
Great.
I would definitely say Los Animas is one that, Christmas Hill as well, that really, it would be good to have two people, assigned to that one.
Take that one.
Los Animas. And who's this, and do you want to, Javier?
Sir.
No, is it that?
Los Arroyos? You up for
Myself.
continuing with that one?
Yeah, I can
Okay.
do those as well. Los Royals and.
And Rainbow? Here's the caveat in this. We encourage everybody to go every park if you can and deal with it and, and tell us what's going on and deal with it. Who's out in, Sidney Casper territory?
The next three as well.
Yeah, the next three?
And honestly, Del Rey is like the opposite of where I live, so if anybody lives closer to that.
It's all right.
And then I would be interested in.
Sure.
Taking Christmas Hill and.
Okay.
And stuff.
So Sidney Casper, you're good with
Yeah.
keeping, okay, Emily?
Sounds like Greg. likes
I heard
Del Rey.
Greg take Del Rey.
Mhm.
It's still right, I have a, it's spelled E.
It's an EY. There it is. King. Yeah, Spanish king. Sorry about that.
It's next one.
And then I'll keep Gilroy Sports too, and that's probably big enough for two.
Yeah.
Okay. Butcher.
I've got Butcher, I'll keep that one, it's the drive lines. And then, Roble, and you like.
I live right.
Yeah, I think that would be good for you. to take.
Andrew, okay. It's great when you take a neighborhood park. Ren's.
It's not too far, I can take friends.
Sunrise.
Okay, good.
Greg.
Greg?
Sunrise, yeah. Christmas Hill could use 2 people.
Christmas Hill.
Oh, I live not too far.
Okay.
We could do it, we could, so we could do ranch.
Yeah.
So we could just do the whole thing, or we could break it up by ranch and by the other side.
I'm good with either side.
Okay.
Let's do the whole thing.
Yeah, do the whole
Do the whole thing.
Okay.
So it's Emily and Greg?
Yeah.
Okay. And same thing. So we'll do both of these. Hecker Pass.
Is that like for the dog park out there that anybody live out by?
Yeah, Third, sometimes also known as Third Street.
I'll take it.
Sure. Anybody know else want to? Nobody else want? I think they're happy to have you take it.
Okay, yeah, I can spit it
Okay.
forever.
And we do basically Michael call Pareto part of the deal. We need to officially make it a park, but it's a park. We're not turning it back into anything else, and it's
Can you
become
find
a park.
out where Prieto?
Hmm?
Where's Prieto?
Pareto is
That's the one down.
by the Performing Arts.
Yeah, exchange right there. It's in between.
I'll think if nobody else wants it.
It's in between, yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, you got it? Okay.
Gives you a reason to go downtown.
Did we miss anything? I think
I
we
only have
got
2. I
Um,
think maybe I should take another one. I jump on the sports park with you.
Okay.
Perfect.
I would, I think we'll come back, but, I don't know how many folks, ride the trails or walk the trails around, and I'll talk about this a little more, but, with the master planning coming forward, we're gonna take a look at all of the bicycle, pedestrian, the joint use paved trails and stuff and everything that deal, so that might be something that we come back with and try to pick some specific segments of that maybe if folks are interested in, and occasionally flipping down through there or looking down through those, it'd be good to start to get have a feel for what's going on with that, but we'll bring that up because it's not on the agenda for discussion. Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
We'll put this on the agenda for next time, and what we'll look at is not the special meeting in February, which we'll talk about. What we put on the next regular meeting in March when we would do the report outs on these. So we'll give you all a little bit of time to get out there. And as always, if you see something, let us know. You don't have to wait till the commission meeting to tell us if you see something, particularly something that's dangerous or concerning.
I guess I just want to make a point for all of the commissioners, should all have this fix on our phones, and that's I've used it a few times and get instant responses from John, or I don't know if it's an auto response that's on there, next thing you know, we responded in 1 second, but it gets done quickly, so.
There is an auto responsive,
That's what I thought.
there is an auto response. But we have a very short turnaround time to get all of our responses in. So Gilroy Connect. Okay.
And if folks aren't familiar, maybe that's something that we can have like a very brief presentation on, maybe a future agenda.
Oh, man. We don't want you getting that good at it.
Awesome, moving on, agenda 9.3, update on parks and recreational trails master.
So on 26th, remember, the city council authorized $310,000 for the preparation of the Parks and Recreational Trails Master Plan. And that was all consultant services, not any staff. So that was part of the policy. So So I'll say this, the second part of, or the first part of that process was that the council adopted the policy creating formally the allocation of basically 25% of fund balance at the end of each fiscal year toward capital improvements, and particularly focused with parks at your request, as the commission members made with that. There's some variations, and certainly we can copy you on that policy, or you can find it in the packet. But clearly it was driven by this group saying, look, we should be dealing with that. I'd say your chair really pushed very hard on that issue, and everybody else behind him pushing that along. So that's great news. There's $310,000 remaining fund balance from fiscal year 25. The council said come back at a later time, bring the policy and bring your ideas for the Parks, Recreation Trails Master Plan. And again, on the 26th, they approved the allocation of those funds specifically to this. Attached to your packet is a revised draft RFP, request for proposals. This is similar to what you saw in August, but there's changes to it. I think better changes to it. Emily and I were sitting in the room at the Parks and Recreation conference in Morgan Hill, and made us think a little bit about things, made me think a lot about how we approach things. And one of the things that the scope of work included was a little more focus on, one, identifying what our current value and investment in our parks is, what replacement value of just replacing what we have there is, and also looking at how do we start to inventory all of those existing improvements, and then also looking more closely at and clearly at how we prioritize both maintenance and capital maintenance, particularly, and capital replacement, and also new amenities that we add to the parks. So that's been, I think, better articulated in this. You have time. It'll take a little bit of time for me still to work through this and put it out there. So I'd say I will suggest we keep this item on the agenda for the next regular meeting in March. What I'd like at that point is to have a conversation, have any input that you have between now and then, or then only. And then basically at that point, we'll proceed toward posting that and advertising and going through that process. I articulated to the council, and it's in the RFP itself, that we would like to have at least one Parks and Rec commissioner sit on the interview panel. I assume probably we'll have 2 to 3 top firms that we're interested in and we think are well worth trying out. But we will also then suggest that we have interview process. And again, added to that would be at least one. I'm fine with 2 commissioners if you want to sit in and you're willing to give the time up with that to do that. But we can talk a little more about that as we get closer to that point. But I need to put the schedule together and figure out when we would look at interviews. And so that would help you identify whether you're even going to be around for that purpose, or we need to schedule around other issues, school holidays or whatever it may be. Happy to answer any questions that you have on it. We've been through this a few times. As noted in there, and I think the staff, I hope if you haven't read the staff report, I think the information there is good. Not that the staff report is necessarily good, but the information there I think is valuable. We have both a Trails Master Plan and a Parks Master Plan. I concluded in looking through and going through what other proposals and everything are out there and things I've seen, that there was no way that we could do both the trails and a full trails and a full recreation master plan. So my suggestion was and remains to be that we take the parks and we take the recreational trails, which are basically the bike pedestrian combined paved pathways, and we talk about those because in my mind, those are just linear parks. As opposed to dirt paths, the mountain bike trails, things of that nature, much of which are already linked and tied into existing trails, regional trails, countywide trails, things of that nature. We should come back and revisit, I think the larger piece of the trails at another time, because it too, that plan is over 20 years old as well. But just because of financial capacity and I think the capacity of the community to grasp both trail and parks and separate the two while we're going at the same on a parallel path would be an extremely difficult time. And we don't have the staffing to do it either. So that's the spiel.
Any questions before we move on?
I have a question. So, just to clarify, so this is the parks master plan, trails master plan, but the recreation assessment is separate.
Recreation assessment is completely separate. As I noted in the presentation the other night, the timing is though perfect, and that's why I want to get moving with the parks master plan, sooner than later, to basically line up with and at least get the formative stages of its work going and having the rec assessment going as well. There's a piece of the rec assessment that fits into the parks because rec programming is in part driven by what facilities you have and amenities you have at your parks. It's not all related to that, but it is related a lot to that. It also deals a lot with AYSO, for example, Gilroy Little League. You can name all of those groups that do the events and do the leagues and particularly youth leagues, but even adult leagues and things of that nature. So that makes sense that we're going to kind of look at all of those things and talk about those things. At least we'll parallel a little bit of that. Rec assessment will end, and the Parks and Recreational Trail Master Plan will continue on. I anticipate about 14 to 18 months from the point we award the contract to a contractor. So this is going to be a pretty significant lift for this group. I appreciate where Javier was. I was thinking, wait, but we'll see where that goes. I've said this to a couple of our new commissioners and the chair, but I do think that at some point we may have a 6-month period where we may have and ask for a special meeting on each month. So have a regular meeting and a special meeting just to talk about the master plan work and dealing with that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But the way this has been established and set up is that we're not looking at an outside community steering committee. You would be that steering committee in essence, planning commission to a lesser extent. But that would be kind of the role that you play. And as a result of that, it would take a little more effort and a little more time. It's also when we talk about the work plan, ultimately, it's also why my recommendation would be to keep your work plan to a fairly important but fairly minimal number of items and things, or more things that you can quickly fix rather than long term, because this is going to be our lives for a good 14, 16, 18 months with that. And I think it'll be great work. It's fun work. I trust me on that one. I think you'll really enjoy that work. And you'll enjoy the fruit of that work because it will make things so much easier as we start to look at getting priorities set for how do we do capital work. We're excited about it. I think you will be as well.
Just one more comment. I just want to commend the city council for approving this. I think this is, our master plan's 20-something years old. So I'm really excited about this. It's going to be a big deal for us to get involved and participate. So it's exciting.
I agree. overdue.
I have it.
But
For the 310K budget, is that the 25% of the reserve? Is that,
That's it.
that's all?
That's all that is the entirety of the fiscal year 25.
Okay, so the policy doesn't apply to this one.
Well,
25% of Peter.
well, that was the 25%. That was the 25%.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, I wasn't clearly. That was the 25% was 310,000.
And then also, I want a second, but I'm like super excited that this work is happening and it's definitely needed, I feel like, if you look at how old the documents are, and I do really like the idea of incorporating the trail stuff in with it, because I'm up on the levee a lot, and like, it's obvious, and it's a huge, easy win, I feel, of just repaving that stuff. So excited about incorporating the trails. And then one other thing I wanted to note is I know that in some of the documents in the RFP, you included like the old trail master plans and stuff that we have. Should we also incorporate the Safe Routes to School document that came out in 2018? Yeah, I just saw it in the word packet. I was like, oh, that's an easy win.
Yeah, we got a copy of that. There's no harm in including it. So it's.
I didn't look at the actual like detailed plan.
Yeah.
I think there was actually suggested trail routes that didn't exist
Okay.
to complete Safe Routes to School that.
We'll take a look at that. Again, the idea is to give them as much information as background as we can. It saves them time and effort to have to go and chase it down themselves. So it's so.
Okay, looks like we're ready to move forward on to
All right.
the next item on our agenda, park hours and food services.
So the last regular meeting we had, which was quite some time ago, we started a conversation a little bit about hours of park hours, open hours, security, kind of a little bit of everything. But I think there was there seemed to be an interest in potentially including this consideration of modifications perhaps or not, but at least evaluating this perhaps as part of your FY27 work plan and work program. I don't think we have to wait till that point to do some of that work and get some of that point, but it's kind of out there. I should say, Pamela, copied and gave you a copy of chapter 18 of the Gilroy City Code, which includes basically all of the provisions for parks and what people are how they're supposed to behave. And that includes also the hours of operation. So if you go to 18.7 on the third page there. So parks with night lighted court facilities shall be closed all year from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. We were having this conversation. Other parks shall be closed from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. from November through February, and from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. from March through October. And of course, you could just turn those around in terms of what hours are we open. So basically, there's a recognition of the winter time changes, it gets dark earlier. And so the parks are modified with that, but it keeps the night lighted court facilities open no matter what till 11 o'clock at night. So these are unique. These are unique from my experience. I've looked at a lot of parks ordinances because I've done updates before. commonly, and I'll attach, I think added to your packet is Hollister, and Hollister is a very common, which is sunrise to sunset, or sunrise to sunset is open, and then sunset to sunrise is closed. That's a pretty common theme, and if you look at a lot of parks ordinances. You also got a copy of Morgan Hills. Morgan Hills is even a little different than that. I picked those two only as the starting point to say, hey, this is kind of what this looks like and this is how this goes, but also because they obviously share somewhat similar weather patterns and the heat of the day. And I understand why the 11 o'clock would have been ultimately landed on in that process down throughout the time there with that deal. So I will give you I'll give you a little primer on ordinances, and kind of the policy wonk piece of me is that if as you look at ordinances, if you'll look at this one and you'll look at the front, if you look under definitions, you see down at the very bottom, there's the parentheses and it says ord number 1008. And that was dated. So that was ordinance 1008 that originally adopted this. And that was adopted 2/19/1974. And if you look at the next one, you had ordinance 2018-05, which meant it was adopted 2/5/18 is what it ultimately means. So when you see those in any of the ordinances in the city, you'll see them in other ordinances. Well, you can see them in the Morgan Hill as well as the Hollister. That's just a little hint that gives you an idea of how long ago. And if you ever want to pull the specific ordinance out, you can go to the clerk and say, I want this ordinance number and I'd like a copy of that, because sometimes they look a little different. But more importantly, they give you the background sometimes in the legislative history behind the ordinance and the reason why it was formed. Because sometimes you're looking at these and you're like, how did they get there? And you're like, why did they do that? Because 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, or, whatever, 50 years later in this instance, you're sometimes wondering why they chose such a thing and dealing with that. And there aren't that many folks around who can remember back to the council meeting when that was done out there. So that's just a little bit of pollywonk in me to say that's one thing you can tell. It also gives you a clear understanding if you go to what section we were looking at. 18-7, you can see the last time it was updated was 4/16/90. So what is that, 36 years? So I don't know whether they had it all right in 36 years ago, but I think it's fine for the commission to take a look at this. I also included the entire package of this, so you can take a look at it. If we're going to talk my suggestion is we're going to talk about hours. We might as well talk a little bit about whether the rules actually match up with where we need to be. And I can give you some examples of newer models of this. And there's nothing wrong with us working through a process of making a recommendation to the council for some ordinance revisions. And obviously we'll work with recreation on that and our operations side, but just a food for thought on that one. We last note on that, we have a contract for security services in the not so distant past. The police department would take care of locking the gates where there were locked gates, and basically rousting the last of the people so we could close the gates out of the parking lots. And then ultimately spending the rest of the night until they unlock the gates, patrolling around the parks as they can and deal with that, just to make sure that people know they're around. They make sure that the bathrooms are locked. Sometimes they are left unlocked for whatever reason, or they become unlocked, whatever reason. So that's something we have in place. We are going to be coming back to the council with a new contract in the coming months. We're going to have to go out with a new RFP, request for proposals, for that, because we only entered into a 1-year agreement with that. One of the reasons I mentioned this is that, you know, as I roamed through, I realized, you know, with Matt, as we take, alternate, every other Friday, and we visit different parks around, and just to see what's up, see what we need to be looking at, what our crew needs to be, spending more time on. It was interesting because I noted, last week, that we were there, that we don't have the gates on the parking lots at Los Animas. Good, bad, or otherwise, I don't know, but it seems kind of odd that Javier has raised concerns, others have raised concerns about security, about things that go bump in the night, things of that nature, lighting, all of those things, and kind of dealing with it. And so one of those things is a question down the road is, you know, should we put swing gates on those and ask the security or whoever it is, PD, to lock those up and deal with it so we don't have people coming? Do we lock those at, say, 9 o'clock, but we still allow folks to park on the street, come in and access the courts if you wanted to keep 11 o'clock? So those are all kind of nuanced things that you can consider and deal with it. Ultimately, the council makes the decision, but they're going to give, I think, a lot of deference to this commission in terms of what you think. So I'm not trying to make work for you, but I do think that when you look at these ordinance provisions, they've been out there quite a while, a long while. They probably need a refreshment with it, just to see if they match up with our needs and everything today. But that's my opinion. You may not agree. But that's kind of where we are with that. If the commission kind of says, yeah, let's continue down this path, we can continue to do some more evaluation and assessment, and give you some comparatives and start to look at what maybe model that you want to look at for update and revising these rules, things.
I think you could add to our work plan. Like,
Yeah. you definitely do that.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about that on the next item. We can talk a little more about, with with the idea of the special meeting. And I'll just say this, the former chair, immediate past chair, we talked about using the next, if the commission agrees to a special meeting in that late week of February, to focus that solely on the work plan. And you could look at even amending fiscal year 26 or just moving forward with fiscal year 27. And you could get an early start on it anyway and deal with it. So that was the idea around that one.
We have a date for that. It could be a Tuesday.
Let's go to the next, let's go to that. We'll go, that's the next item.
Perfect.
So I guess my only comment on this one. I think we should revisit the park safety, the rules and closing and I would be in favor of moving forward to study this.
yeah, I agree.
Do you want to speak?
How busy? I don't know how busy the parks are. And I know when I was at situation, we always had somebody who, we took attendance of how many people, and it's hard for us to do. So I'm wondering, you know, and gyms do this too, and also you decide who's, if the people aren't gonna come to the gym at a certain time, why open it then? So I don't know if there's some way to gauge how many people use the park at any certain time, but so if we do, if we're talking about the two ends, when we open and when we close, one might look at, well, how early do people want to get there and how late do people want to stay there? Might be.
Yeah, I'll only, to the chair, if I can say, I think there's value in that. I think there's also value in the fact that if one or two people are using it at 6 a.m, that's a good thing. So it doesn't matter whether there's 600 or 6 people doing it. So I think you can't, I don't think you should attach an absolute number value being, because we're not in the business of selling memberships and making money off of it. But I do think there's a question about the courts, for example, and when they're open now, you know, the reports I get is that the courts are pretty well used at 10, at 10 o'clock at night. Much of the year because they're lighted and there's a lot of activities and those are great courts. And as we look at, and the thing I think nice about talking about this is we can also look at the rules for pickleball as well and align this with and make sure we're accommodating that. But I think there's value in what you're saying, but I think there's a value judgment in some of that as well.
You pay more for security if they come at, earlier timing.
Well, we can go through that. I will only say that, that there's just a question about why are people coming to parks that don't have lights and stuff, and they're still there at 11 o'clock at night. There's probably not a good reason for them to be there and dealing with that, frankly. So there's the big question about the lighting and the reasons they're there and dealing with that, but we can get through that.
For the future agenda item?
Yep.
Can I get a motion? We need to make a motion, please.
No, you consensus said, yeah, let's continue this conversation.
Awesome.
Okay. So, next, 9-5.
See, so, setting the date for our February, special meeting.
So there is no obligation to have a special meeting. My suggestion was because we had very little time in between this meeting and what is your current scheduled meeting date of the 17th. I will tell you this, I'm off to Ohio to visit my mom and dad that week, and so I'm going to be gone. Doesn't mean that Matt and crew can't handle it. It's just a quick turnaround, and I would prefer to be here to talk about the work plan and deal with that. The chair and I were suggesting February 26th, it's a Thursday. The 23rd is a council meeting. 25th is a community meeting on the Civic Center Master Plan. And so we were both landing on, for our sanity and for other reasons, the 26th, if that would work for a majority of the folks. It may not work for everybody, and we'll obviously talk to Jesse if it does work for you folks.
I'm sorry, the 24th wasn't an option?
Yeah, I would prefer
I can't make the 24th. So but that's,
Are there agenda items from the meeting on the 25th that need to be addressed after? We need to meet after the 25th?
No, it can be before. So it could be the 24th.
Is your availability look like? Or should we do it?
I can also do the 26th for some.
yeah, if I could be comfortable, but I can't do that day. So 26 is my open date that week.
Since this is gonna be a special meeting, does it need to be at the same time? Can it be earlier, perhaps?
It can be earlier. But it's availability on from you folks. We're here. But I know some folks have other commitments and things, but it could be earlier. We could always do 4:30 or 5 o'clock start or something of that nature.
What about the 17th?
17th won't have me.
John, I'm even open to, what about pushing it out to March? Is that kind of a bit too far out? Maybe
I only say that we get to the same issue, which is that we have a quick turnaround time to get to the regular meeting. I was just trying to space them out so we weren't it gave us about 3 weeks in between both this meeting and 3 weeks to the next meeting after that one. That's the only reason I was looking at it.
No, it makes sense.
With it.
Okay,
5 o'clock or 2 better. I don't know how everybody else is 5 o'clock. They're flexible. They're flexible.
does anybody have some kind of other prior commitments that could, prevent them from being here at 5, maybe on the 26th?
I might not be able to make it, but I can send my information. in writing or something if necessary, but I can also make it back to 5 p.m. But I'm okay, I think if this is what it's.
I can make the 5 o'clock on the 26th work, yeah.
What about the
We're taking 2 different days now.
25th, they can't do the 25th because there's a civic master plan meeting.
That's right. 26th is fine.
Nobody wanna meet on a Friday.
No.
Yeah, I just.
Do early Friday, but I don't know if
Let's-
that works
let's-
for folks. That, or we could always, I mean, push it out to the first week of March. Folks want to do the second or the third.
I can do either of those days.
Can't do either of
I
them.
can do either one, but I can do the second or the third.
I can as well.
I like that already.
Good. Second,
Preference between
third of March,
the second or the third,
for a special meeting.
a Monday or a Tuesday?
I pass for, I prefer the.
So the city council meet the first and third Mondays of every, so the city council meets on,
Second, yeah.
For the third.
Yeah, yeah, so the third. Is that the third, and then we'll hop back?
Yeah, cause that's a long month.
Cool. All in favor to
we have?
our
Busy.
special meeting on the third?
Your schedule is busy.
Oh, gosh, I have a problem with the third. I have a long-standing commitment to be at the Knights of Columbus. They asked months ago, I can't cancel on them. They will kill me. How about the fourth?
You're clear.
Would Wednesday, the fourth work?
That works for majority of folks.
I have to cancel my pickleball.
Works for me.
What?
I said I have to cancel my pickleball.
Oh,
It'll
Let's
be
do the
worth
fourth.
it.
I think that's what I'm hearing from folks that we.
I apologize for the third, but that's been on my calendar and commitment for months.
Just to be clear, we're gonna solely be focused on our work plan, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, work plan. So that'll be the sole focus. The agenda will be very short and sweet on
Perfect.
that. That's what it'll be.
Okay, and then I will still offer 6 o'clock with folks. Perfect.
You can do it earlier if you want.
5 o'clock, you folks prefer a little earlier, or is it, or folks prefer 6?
Doesn't matter to me.
Do it with 5,
I have a hard time getting there.
Oh, 6
Let's
o'clock.
call it 6.
6.
It's good for the community. It's easier for them to also get home from things and everything too.
Wednesday, March 4th. Wednesday, March.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.
She'll be right here, right? Yes, sir. Great.
Assuming the room is available, otherwise we'll find a place to meet, but
Moving along, old business, so. Schedule, we already did that.
Yeah.
so
So it looks like we're on agenda item 11, correct?
the 10-1, it crosses over there. It's the
Okay,
meeting schedule.
got it.
So Pamela,
What's going on?
where to go and what is this?
I added it. Where it is.
Where is it? Where is it?
I don't know.
Where is it?
It was there though.
You know what?
It didn't attach.
It didn't attach. We still are struggling with
So
with-
plus.
Civic, with our software. We'll just, how about if the commission is okay, we'll continue that to the March 4th meeting. There'll be one other item other than work plan on this. We'll deal with the schedule.
Dates for the year, right?
Yeah,
So that won't take much time.
it won't
Yeah, let's,
take much time at all.
do our special.
Okay.
Agenda item 11, department updates, public works, park, maintenance and operations.
Busy with the projects, Delray Park, I'm sure some of you guys already know. Playground is getting ready to finish. Citywide irrigation cores, retrofit's been completed for this.
Hey, John, before you do this, introduce yourself. We have new commissioner.
Hendricks John, she's a part of the next. And, great, we've met already.
Yes, yes.
Yes. That's about that. Los Animas Park, the Oak restroom is under construction, it's under demo, we're looking forward to receiving the new building on the 18th. And hopefully having this public marked, within March. Construction at the Heck Park Playground shade structures underway. They should have the stage posts installed by next week, and then they'll measure and set the ordering for the shade sales. So the park will be open to the public by the end of should be open by the end of next week. And we'll just be waiting for the shade sales to come in. They do that so that during construction, sometimes they don't align the way they look on the plan, so that they get the accurate size for the shade. So that's why it's a little bit of the shade structure part. But we're moving along quickly. Other things. Installed new backboards and scoops at Los Angeles Park.
Oh, nice. Nice, yeah, where'd it go?
Yeah. The downtown here banners are down. We're set to set the cultural arts showcase banners on the 20th for the new artist banners this year.
Oh, that's right.
The staff's chugging along on ball field maintenance to get ready for Little League's kickoff next month. Weed abatement, landscape maintenance, and this past few months we've been busy making sure we're working with PD to get move along some of the in-house encampments that have been throughout the process.
Where was it at Christmas so far?
Christmas Hill, there was one across the parking lot from the Sycamore parking lot down in the slope before. And then we just cleared one, Hoovis Park, Hoovis Creek just before the Santa Teresa Bridge.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple at Thomas and the Chest. Guys have been working hard to identify and find the cameras and working with PD to help us get those moved along. So yeah, and then service requests illegal dumping, graffiti, tree limb repair, all the repairs and all that's ongoing stuff. That's as usual.
Yeah. Great.
I have a couple additional items to add to the list. My name's Matt Jones, Deputy Director of Public Works Operations. Nice to meet you. And Greg, I was at your meeting. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
A couple additional items we're adding in is we're working on our workforce due to the low number of staffing due to the transition from public works and utilities, and so we're trying to meld staff better to attack our high priorities, health, life, and safety issues. And so the streets crew has been tackling some of parks related items, and one example is the turnstile that got brought up at Los Animas, which impeded bicycles from using the skate park. So street staff took on that project, and you'll see in the images of that removal. And then also we're working at Los Arroyos Park on tree replacements and some of those sidewalk trip hazards. So there's some images from some concrete work the guys completed yesterday. We pulled some more panels today. We'll be doing some more concrete work tomorrow and Thursday. And hopefully mid next week, we will take care of the last trip hazard at Los Arroyos. And then John, Susan, and myself will sit down and look at some of the other parks and see what other sidewalks we can tackle internal and get those off the list to make the park safer. So.
Great, thank you. Anything else for you, gentlemen, before we move on to recreation?
If you want to comment that, just in the past year that I've been going to my 3 parks, like I definitely noticed the improvements, like with the graffiti and the benches, and yeah, you guys are on it, so you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. 11-2, Recreation Division activity updates.
Good evening, nice to meet you, Adam Hennig, Greg. Seeing you around. Anyway, so I'm the recreation manager for the city of Gilroy. The recreation division is based at the Gilroy Senior Center. Where we have activities not just for seniors, but we also have for special needs, we have for youth, adults, all ages. Also facility reservations, we have meetings there. So it's really our community center, but it still retains the senior center. Anyways, with that said, if you turn to page 38 in your packet, it's just some of the updates that are going on in recreation. The city of Gilroy has an adaptive program. So this is a program for adults with special needs. It's a long standing program. And this past December, so they meet 3 times a week. And then usually about once or twice a month, they go on a field trip. Sometimes it's just to go to Savvy's downtown, or they'll go to the movies. Well, in December, one of the staff is actually also an actor, and he was performing in the annual La Pastorella performance, which is basically it's a holiday show that takes place at this cute little theater down in San Juan Bautista. And so we arranged for a field trip to bring our adaptive participants to the show. They had a great time. I drove them, and it was great. Anyways, they're very active. They're very engaging, and they're fun to work with. Aquatics. So the city of Gilroy contracts out its aquatic management services. And it is currently being operated by Swimming Swan, who the city retained for this upcoming season, which will be kicked off in Memorial Day weekend. And that goes throughout the summer. Seniors. So every day, Monday through Friday throughout the year, we offer senior services over at the Senior Center from 9 a.m. to about 12:30 in the afternoon. The big draw, of course, is lunch, which is provided by one of our partners, the YMCA. But in addition, we also offer lots of classes and services. Right now, actually, we're offering free tax support for those who are 60 and older. We also have free meditation classes. We have people can play pool. We have arts and craft classes. We also do field trips with them. And recently, the Youth Commission created a intergenerational dance for the seniors at the Senior Center, and the theme was Hollywood, and had a great time. And you can see the picture down below. This was toward the end of the evening. The seniors were dancing. They played limbo. They had an Italian themed dinner, and they played Jeopardy. Of course, the theme was Hollywood. There were movie posters. There was lots of decorations. And as you can see on the next page as well, get kind of a view of what it looked like. They were the waiters, and then we assigned a commissioner to each table to provide that kind of intergenerational. So that was a very successful event. We had 70 attendees, and they had a good time. And then in addition, about once or twice a month, there's always like a themed meal. So depending on what month it is. So for example, in November, there was a Thanksgiving themed meal. We tend to have a higher than normal attendance rate at the Senior Center for those special meals. So very lively group, lots of fun. And like I said, they're there every day. Feel free to come and help out if you ever want to. You can help serve meals. Some of your fellow commissioners already do. Appreciate that. Special events, speaking of which, so every year we host the Breakfast with Santa extravaganza over at the Senior Center. The Parks and Recreation Commission always plays a pivotal role in that event, usually in the kitchen. This year we had support from Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Ramirez, and of course Commissioner Bozo. Thank you for your support. You can see the picture down there. We had 200 people attend. It was children, it was parents, it was relatives, grandparents, all ages. They enjoyed watching a hula performance. Santa Claus, of course, was there. They got to make arts and craft projects, and they had a delicious breakfast cooked by yours truly. So thank you very much. And last but not least, we're actually in the tail end of our youth basketball league, which takes place at Solorzano Middle School. So we do have, and we'll be talking about this, we do have these agreements with the school district where we provide activities at their facilities during non-school hours. So this could be in the evening, it could be on the weekend, and throughout the summer. So for example, aquatics takes place at Christopher High School. So we use the pool during the summer when school is out. This basketball league, which has 129 participants, takes place on Saturday, again, when school is out, and then they practice in the evening when there's no school. So it's shared use, and it's a great way to maximize space so that when school's not using it, we're able to use it, or vice versa. Anyways, that concludes my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Hey, so one question, so Adam, on the youth basketball, any data of where the kids come from as far as from, what parts of Gilroy, and is it more or less than it was last year?
In terms of where within Gilroy, I don't have that data. We could map it out. I will say that the overwhelming majority are from Gilroy. Occasionally, we get participants from San Martin, Thornton Hill, Hollister, but the vast majority are Gilroy. And in terms of the numbers, I want to say it's either the same or maybe just a handful that are more. There's only so many teams that we can accommodate as well. So we kind of have reached a limit of how many players that we can actually take. And we do set a deadline for that reason.
I would be highly interested to see if we can figure out where the kids come from, what parts of town.
Yeah, I can look into that and see if we can get maybe our GIS analysts to map it out for us.
Great.
Yeah.
Is your constraints, excuse me, sorry.
Go ahead.
Is your constraints, number of coaches? What is the constraint on the number?
This is actually the first year where we're fully coached. If we don't have enough coaches, we use our staff as coaches. The downside with that is that it may not be the same staff person every week. So if you have a parent volunteer who's coaching a team, it's going to be the same coach week after week after week. If it's staff, it might be staff A one week and it might be staff B another week. So you don't have the continuity. But like I said, this year we had 100% of all the teams have coaches. However, there are weeks where a coach might be out of town, so then we send in a staff person to fill that one.
But is that your constraint on the number of teams? Do you have four?
No, I think it has, honestly, it's certain age groups have more teams than other age groups. So it's just a balancing act of trying to get all of the teams to be able to play one another. Because again, you're trying to always have like an even number of teams. And then also too, there's only so much time in the day. So for example, I think the last game is around 12:30-ish. So if they end around say 1:30, 2 o'clock. What we have found is that by late Saturday afternoon, most people want to start their weekend. And so that's why we really focus on all the games having it Saturday morning. Early Saturday
And
afternoon.
it's just the one gym.
And Solorzano, yeah. What's nice about Solorzano, it's bigger than Wheeler, which is the city-owned gym. It has, so we use both courts. You can have two games going on at once, which makes it challenging if you're a referee. I have done unsuccessfully.
Commissioner, Bogle, did you?
Yes, La Pastorela, was that your first year doing that? At the Teatro?
I think we've taken either seniors or adaptive there before, but it was the first time that I went there.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's gonna be a annual function.
Did we have one last question? Yes.
Do you want more kids to be involved though? And thank you, Ann, for asking about the restrictions. Do you want more kids involved?
Like in basketball or just in general?
In basketball.
We're turning them away.
Oh. Yeah, in terms of the actual youth basketball league, it seems to be, we seem to be hitting the right number based also too, just on our resources, you know, having gym space, having staffing, and then of course, just having the number of coaches. I mean, there are other programs that we would like to offer if we had either more resources, more facility space, or just more staffing, you know. So for example, we've recently received a grant from the state of California to offer environmental education programs to students who meet certain income eligibility requirements. And it's a great program, and there's nothing like it that's being offered anywhere else, either in the schools or by another provider within Illinois. But the problem is it's a grant, so it's temporary, the funding. So the kinds of programs that we often look for are programs that there's really no one else that's offering. Another program, for example, would be like our summer day camp. As you probably are aware, recreation departments, that's kind of like their bread and butter. That they do that usually with most other providers. It's a traditional summer day camp where the kids come to school, they do arts and crafts activities, they go on field trips, they sing songs, they play tons of games. And the emphasis is just on having fun, socialization. And that's one of our big programs. And so we're at a point where if we want to grow it, well, we would have to look for like a new location. Because that's a good example of like, we can't have more than 50 kids a week, like at one time within this facility, because it just isn't big enough to accommodate it.
I have two questions.
Go ahead.
Is that the city's fully running that program? It's not like partnering with the Wire?
No, so the camp that I'm referring to is the one at Gilroy Gardens.
Oh, no, sorry,
The basketball is being run by the city, yeah. So there's another league, which is the soccer league, and that's a contract, that's a partnership, and that's with Audax. And so they run that.
And then, are you guys planning to do the volleyball games? The adult volleyball?
It's going on right now, literally. Over at Wheeler from 6:15 to 8:15.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's every Tuesday night for adults 18 and over. We have seems to be a core group of people who are going there. There's a drop-in fee, so if you want to just try it once, or you can get a French pass, or you get a discount.
Okay, so it's the same like thing as the pickleball.
Same place, yes. It's just in the evening.
I have one more question if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You said you have a Swimming Swan as the contractor.
Correct.
How long is their contract?
So right now, their contract is 1 season with an option for another year.
City's option.
The city, yeah, it's up to the city council to decide whether or not they will want to continue.
All right, awesome. And then Adam, I think it'd be great, you know, for a future meeting, if you talk maybe a little bit more about the community recreation side of things that y'all got going on. Maybe for a future meeting, put that on the agenda. But for now, thank you for the update, and then we'll go ahead and move forward to next item on the agenda, 11.3 Parks CIP update.
Oh. Are you doing it? Me doing it. I'll do it. So happy to report that pickleball is moving along very well, and we're fast approaching the point where we think in March we'll be able to put out the bid package for this. So we'll see exactly how that earlier or late, but it's a bit earlier than what we'd anticipated. So I'm appreciative of that. My staff's done a great job of pulling that together, and so we're in the process of QA/QC, the plans and the specs, and moving that forward. So at this point, we seem definitely in line with having it open this summer.
When are we gonna see the design?
Well, you've seen I mean, you saw the design hasn't changed really since that. There's some iterative stuff with that. I'm happy to share them the next regular meeting.
Yeah, the last time you saw the design, there was only 4 boards, so.
Well, you've seen a 6-court. We have the 6-court. I'm happy to bring them back. I'm not hiding anything or anything with that deal. We're actually going to put some of the drawings on. We're updating on the city's website, and our page has capital projects, and this is one of those. So we'll actually have some of the drawings up on there. So that's the easiest way you'll be able to, community can see them and deal with that. And they'll show the six courts. And
John, if I remember correctly, you brought us different options, right? The 4-court option, 6-court option.
Yeah.
Okay.
Council said, go for the 6-court. So we focused on the 6-court, and that's what we're heading to. So
Is it gonna come back to the commission before it goes out for bid?
no.
And I'm just curious with the 6 courts, is there any compromise on material?
Compromises, the council gave some specific direction. The base is asphalt with a option, an alternative to get us a bid for what post-tension slab concrete would be. So we'll get both of those. We can, there's on the site itself, I believe there's there's actually the staff report with the council. So there was a lot of action. There were some adults with the cabana chairs in the middle. That was one that was pulled out of the project in hopes that could be fundraised. And someone would, perhaps our group would come forward with that. We also, I believe, were looking for the wind block material to also hope that we might be able to generate some fundraising out of that point. And that was
Fence height,
in
did
that.
that settle on a fence height?
The base is 8, we went up to 8 feet for the standard with that. So that was changed with that. I would, so the 8 feet was the appropriate height, we believe, too, for that.
Wouldn't it be available on the CIP website?
I'm hoping by the end of next week. And we're trying to get a bunch of the projects that were updated kind of on that list.
Excited.
Yeah.
I see a parts equipment upgrade update. Is that part of that?
Yeah, the council on the 26th approved contract for Rainbow, right? That was the
Rainbow
big
Park.
one for Rainbow Park.
Yeah.
So that double the two big equipment, playground equipment there. So we're working on getting that under contract, and then we issued the smaller one.
That'll go at the same time.
Which park?
Delray.
Delray.
We're gonna do Delray as well.
It's updating like the adult area by the school. That one's good.
We did Delray. We completed.
No, Roble.
Oh, Robo.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, Roble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it gonna be, sorry, just for my better understanding, a new park for Rainbow Park, or is it just gonna be restored?
Restored, like we did the Delray.
Got it.
Similar layout, new amenities, fresher.
Same with the Rockland, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Awesome, thank you so much.
There's a significant cost savings going that way.
I saw the pictures, and I wanted to make sure that I was. Where is it? I saw the pictures of the new,
That was, I think that was LA.
Yeah,
well,
Delray.
I saw some other, I saw the pictures, and I wanted to point out, I was out in Los Animas looking at the demolished, this page here. I was looking at the demolished bathroom, which is now completely flattened, which is great. But if you look up in the corner, staff surprised me and put in the new basketball backboards and rims and everything there. So I thought that was really cool. and a vast improvement and something, and it's a design I've never seen. They call it the waffle design. It's clear, you can see it. It's you've been out there actually, but you can see where it's basically metal open, so it won't blow so much in the wind and everything that deal, and it's not quite as heavy. And we'll see how it works out there. But I was ecstatic, and they surprised me with that one. Didn't even know they were up to that. So we're working on that. We also I didn't list it, but we also have working on a contract for the Court 5 and 6 repair. And we're also, as part of that, are looking at trying to get a dollar figure from them for expanding that into the basketball court there at Los Animas. I'm not gonna absolutely guarantee with this one, but I'm hoping we can squeeze that out. We really want to do that, and we know you really want us to do that.
Right. Yeah.
With that, so we know that, so just know that that's out there as well. So we're working very hard to make that $500,000 that the council put forth in the budget each year for these types of things meaningful to the community with the very expensive environment that we work in and live in.
Of expanding the, like the dirt patch that's like there.
Behind the handball court.
Exactly, like that's easy.
We're working on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks definitely were excited at the park when they seen the team out there taking measurements, so
Yeah.
Something happening, and it's the plan, so. Yeah.
What's your plan? You have one now
For the,
for the dirt, for the dirt?
oh, well,
spot.
there's
still-
we can pave it, we can concrete it, there's gotta be some drainage that goes in there, it's a little more. I tossed it around, is this something we can tackle in-house, or is it need more of a specialty contractor? So.
We are
Let's-
working on it,
We're working on it.
but we
That's great.
still haven't landed on it.
Off the cracks.
Yeah, it's
Just cause it's a highly.
it's on the list. It's on the list.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect, I think we can move on to our 12, Commissioner Board reports and comments. We're gonna go ahead and start off with Commissioner Bob.
Yeah. Carriage Hills, the lawn looks terrific, except for 3 little holes on one side. Do we have moles or?
We might be having gopher activity in there right now.
That was the only thing. Everything else looked great. And then Commissioner Ramirez and myself, we conferred with each other on the Miller situation. When you get to the sign where it says bounce house, it seems like it's very, very damp there, and that people are using their what do you call it?
They're cleats.
The cleats in that area.
Oh, on the south side of
On the south
Yeah.
side, yeah, that part, people doing it, and they set up their own lights and they practice, and I love it because they're using the park.
Yeah.
But they're clean, and so that there's a lot, that area is compacted now, and the grass isn't coming through anymore, so it's.
Yeah.
You might have to do a repair or just block it off just to get the grass to come back up.
Yeah,
But it does seem awfully more damp than it should be, so.
I walked it last week, I was noticing that it's, as soon as you get out there, oh, there's just cleat marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gateway, I did a drive-by, looked okay. No flowers though. Last time I said there was a lot of flowers, now there's no flowers. Other than that, that's my report. Oh, no, John, there was, on, the other road that takes you up to the top, on Long Meadow Court, I think it's called.
Oh, for carriages.
Oh, Rancho, off of Rancho and Long Meadow,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was I think I saw a full can of garbage. It seemed like it was almost overflowing. Yeah. Other than that, everything else I saw was good.
Commissioner Jimenez isn't here, but one thing I'd like to point out for San Isidro Park, one of the basketball backboards closer to the playground is kind of detached from the backboard, the rim of the backboard. So I just, you get rebolted down. I'll go ahead and continue since, I'm up for Rainbow, Los Albertos, Las Animas. We already talked about the backboards at Las Animas. Excited for those and to see also the work that's being done at Los Albertos as well. Nothing else to report on my end for these parks. Mr. Mo?
The Gilroy Sports Park looks great. I noticed the bathroom is finally done and open, so the door looks amazing. I think it might be part of that sprinkler repair you talked about, but I was walking there and I saw a bunch of like sprinklers like laying around. Like not a bunch, but like 3. So did you mention that you guys did like a citywide sprinkler maintenance project?
Or sports park,
Yeah.
there was a couple heads that had blown out that they've been fixing.
Okay, that must have been it.
On the west side. of the
It was
park.
all around the loop with the perimeter. I saw like 3 of them just now. I was like, oh, that's kind of.
Take a look.
I think it might have already been resolved. Like, I think I went back and I thought, oh, they're not, or I blew away or what happened, but the park looks great.
Probably. You were there last week?
Yeah, I go there like every day. They might have been in process of like maintaining them, but I did some. And then I saw the barrier on the trail has been replaced too, so everything. Sydney Casper, I was there today. It was super busy and it looks great. Everything going on really. And then Del Rey, the playground retrofit, it looks great. I did notice, and I think you guys may have already maintained it, but there was like some standing water. There was I took a picture of it. There was like a cone and some standing water, and then some of the grass just looked like oversaturated water as well.
Yeah, the standing water that was spilling off onto the walkway.
It wasn't on the walkway anymore, but it was just like a gross puddle.
We made adjustments, those clogs.
Oh,
With the last 30 days of sunshine we've had in the summer and the winter, we've had the clocks back on, but it's a little tricky because it's still cold at night, so we've dialed it back down, to get it not as soft.
I had one more thing, but. Oh, I wanted to mention at Las Animas, I was there, over by like the children's playground, there was a bunch in like, the tiered area. There was a bunch of standing water in the bottom tier. This was like a few months back. It may have been even late December. Yeah, it was after some heavy. But it was like quite a significant amount of water. I haven't been back since to look if it was still there, but just FYI. That's all I have.
The lower playground,
Yeah.
the structure's like sunken down.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Venus, you're up.
yep, the roadway looks great. Can't wait to see the new playground equipment. Just reiterate again, tennis courts are unusable. And
I'll just tell you, we're gonna come back in March with a formal request for blessing to close them, lock them up, and then we'll look at scheduling for demolition, but
people still use them as bad as they are.
I know, but it's unsafe and I do not.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I do agree with it. It's unsafe. Sunrise looks great. I am worried about the GoPro holes by the baseball field. That baseball field, I imagine you probably work on it for baseball season, but the GoPro holes are kind of a concern. I'm not sure, guys. So,
They were to go for holes recently.
about 2-3 weeks ago.
Right by the backstop.
Yeah, by the backstop in that area, walk around. Rents always clean, doesn't get a lot of use, same as my last time. It'd be nice to just freshen up a little, some paint on the benches,
I think they paint the
They paint them?
at Reds. Yeah.
Okay, I never noticed it. Okay, that's great. And I didn't go by Richard, but so I haven't,
It looks great.
I don't know what to do.
We'll be gonna be doing some work out there.
Really? So,
We're gonna remove some of the bushes for visibility. We talked about removing the benches. We talked about removing the trash can just
Okay.
because of the visitors. Yeah.
okay. That's all I got.
We're gonna use every tool in the box to try to figure out something. We don't wanna, we want something there for the community
Okay.
that's there. There's a lot of demand for it, weekends and everything, and with that, there's not a lot of park space and not a lot of yard space around in the neighborhood, so we don't want to completely eliminate it, but let's figure out something,
I appreciate it.
make it better.
Agenda item 13, director report.
And I'll be as short as you allow me to be and let you get out tonight and everything like that. And I see people looking at their watch like I am at times, but I get to stare at the light at the deal there. So there is the joint meeting. Luis mentioned that earlier tomorrow night. And two items of interest, I think, to all in this room is obviously there's going to be a lot of conversation about the recent accident at Lopez Way and near Los Alamos. And then also there's going to be some conversation about joint use, which I know is of interest to the commission. The chair agreed to just allow this to be a light item for tonight with really minimal conversation to allow the meeting to occur, allow that process to happen, and then we can come back and we can take a look at the joint use issue if you want to under your work program or anything else that kind of comes with it, but to deal with that. What I can tell you is that we are working on and have an independent consultant, a traffic consultant, looking at the Los Alamos school area, in particular the intersection where the accident occurred, and Gilroy PD is doing the best they possibly can to get their report out. So I know there's a lot of desire for information and kind of things out there with regard to that. We just ask that folks be patient with it a little bit, allow the facts and the information to come forward and deal with that, and allow some of those analyses to occur, to come back and deal with that. We understand the importance, and we also understand that this is a segue into also your work plan for looking at particularly fiscal year 27, jumping into education for pedestrian and bicycle. And we're all in and ready to go into that from the city's perspective, from staff perspective. And we're at this point trying to figure out how do we get moving on potentially some PSAs, perhaps using some of the local children and stuff to talk about how do you crosswalks. We've sort of lost the art of crossing a crosswalk, and in terms of explaining to people that first of all you always make eye contact if there's a car there waiting anywhere to come across or to turn or whatever. You make eye contact with the person in that car. You don't go unless you've made that eye contact and you know they've seen you. The other thing is that you make the first step out usually into the gutter pan. One deal, again, making sure you have eye contact if any vehicles around. And obviously you're looking and being clear. I think all of us have seen also with the preponderance of earpods and everything, that there's a lot of folks crossing the street who are oblivious. They're looking at their phones, they're dealing with that. So I think there's some good PSAs and light kind of fun and youth-based training that we can do right away and start with in terms of getting that information out, and then getting into the schools and getting also the driver education as well, because there's two pieces to that equation.
I was just reading the document I mentioned earlier, the 2018 Safe Routes to School that was developed by Gilroy. There's actually developed on that list, and one of the items was to hire a designated Safe Routes to School person. That in the cards.
That would typically, my experience is that is typically a school district position. It's usually a grant funded. it may be sort of unbelievable in light of sort of these things and deal with that, but we struggle to get, and Gilroy PD struggles to get a lot of funding for things like the Safe Routes to School and other kind of safety programs because our record is very good. So they usually provide funding because your record is bad and they want to improve it. So that's a challenge for us to deal with, but it's true.
It was old, but it said there were like between, it seemed like a high number, like there that. Obviously it should be 0, but it was like 200 or something within like this time period.
Yeah. So
I'll send it.
yeah, it's there, it's out there. We can
What time is
send it to you. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
I guess I'd like to comment on tomorrow night's meeting. I've been a big proponent of joint use. And trying to do it collaboratively with the school district. They have some concerns with us usually, and it started when they closed off a roadway, they closed off the school, and then they closed off the field over by Rainbow Park, and so that took away space from summertime for kids to play, and used to be soccer games on there. I remember days where you played soccer and baseball on the school fields. And so I'm a big proponent trying to bring that back together. I know the school district has some concerns, valid concerns. I know that we have people on the city council that want to make this happen, but it has to be done in a proper way. I messed up and scheduled a vacation for tomorrow, so I won't be able to make tomorrow night's meeting with the school district. If anybody can go, and I can tell you that speaking in front of the city council and the school district are the same, carries a lot of weight, especially if it comes from the. So if you do have time, I encourage you to go to attend that meeting. That joint use of the facilities is something that we want to do, and hopefully we work with the school district to get that. That's just the message. Yeah.
I'm very involved with the Gilroy High School District, and so I'll be going to meet, but again, because of the group that's being put together that will be, I'm not gonna say protesting, but we'll be gathering at 5:30. People that want to have special crossing lights to be installed, and that's gonna be a big issue. There's gonna be a good many of those people are going to be public comment. I public comment here at Gilroy City Council meetings. I public comment at every Gilroy University meeting. This one, people are going to be focused on this, and so I'll comment what let the people come in and do their speech tomorrow. And anything else besides what they're focused on might just get looked over. But believe me, the joint use definitely is something that they want to do. I said collaboration with Gilroy students and the city council. Oh, that's the best. You get both because they both want the best for the kids, and so by collaborating, working together, they both want to do it again. Because this is so fresh that because the tragic accident is so fresh, that's what they want to work on. We will indeed look at collaboration. It's on the agenda. I just hate to say that it might not get the full attention because people are focused on what is happening.
I just want to say it is all related though with the Safe Routes to School, like, and the joint use partnership, like. I think it could be a moment to, kick off when there is a lot of public concern, but I also get what you're saying.
I'm just saying the joint use, again, using the field, the fields, a great idea and everything else. So my son-in-law is the vice principal at South Valley Middle School. That's why I got involved with the schools. And so I know exactly, and they use those fields.
So I'm just saying, we intentionally put it in the director's update, which does not really set up for a conversation for the very reason that we're not going to have the conversation in great detail. I think it was perfectly appropriate to say if you can be there, show up, deal with it. I'll remind each of you if you show up tomorrow night. This commission hasn't taken necessarily a formal position on it, so you should be speaking as a resident of Gilroy. You can mention that you're on the Parks and Rec Commission, but just basically leave it as I'm speaking as an individual because the commission has not taken a specific position. Now, I understand where it appears the majority, if not all of you, stand that joint use should be considered and deal with that. And I think that's consistent with it. I just say if you speak, be careful on speaking on an item that has not been officially a position taken by the commission. But I would say we've gone further than we probably should have with the item, but I don't want to be that kind of guy with it. But there's a Brown Act issue that we should deal with. We're going to have a lot of time to talk about all of these things down the road for sure.
Can we move forward on to the next item? Thank you for bringing that up, Luis. I'm very concerned. Thank you for your valuable input. 13.2, update at San Isidro Storyboard project.
So I just want to give you a quickie. I'm finalizing the memorandum of understanding with the library district as we speak. Went out and we're working on doing an exhibit for that with the project. At this point, we are proposing to do basically a full loop around the 0.7, roughly the 0.7 miles around the park to put the story walk. And they're excited by having a longer walk and a longer path. That's what they really want as part of that effort, half mile to a little more. So they're excited by the potential locations. So we're just confirming where exactly the easement is for Valley Water along the waterway there, and just making sure we're putting them in the right spot. But that should be moving along pretty soon.
Do we have a rough timeline?
A matter of probably they have to. I don't know whether they have the units are fabricated for especially for them, or whether they have an order for the units they put the stories in. So I don't know from the library district. I'm guessing 3 to 4 months out, probably at most, for that. If they have the units and they've already ordered them and they're in hand, then it should be much shorter time than that.
Just a quick comment.
Yes.
I would highly recommend that we somehow get the community involved in that a little bit, whether it's something that's done through South County or somewhere, the promotora, something out at the San Isidro Park, so they have some input on what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
At
once,
least the book, what the book is going to be.
I think once we get closer to that day, or maybe we can table this for a future agenda item, we can maybe collectively bring it to one of their cafecitos that they have monthly, and just kind of get a feel for the community's input and see maybe what they would like to hear, see. Do you have a question?
Oh, I was just gonna say, if the timeline holds, it could work out where there's a special event called Dia de los Niños, Day of the Child, which I believe is May. It would just be second, Saturday, May 2nd. So, or Friday, May 1st. I think it's either Friday or Saturday. It would be a nice unveiling because you're gonna have a huge audience. But again, it's all about all of the
We can aim for that date. And then what was that date again? Do we?
I think it's Friday. I think it's gonna be May 1st, Friday night.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
I'll keep you informed. I'll keep you up to date on it. I love the cafecito idea on that one. That's perfect. To let them know it's coming, and I will let the library district know that there's an interest and some input from the neighborhood and the community on the stories that they're choosing, kind of dealing with. There's a possibility. but they pretty much cycle the same stories. These will just be in bilingual format for the most part, but I think they're looking at doing some, maybe even Spanish only, potentially out there as well. But that's on that's on the horizon, thanks to Sam and your private fundraising efforts and everything that deal outside of this commission. So we appreciate that. Next.
Recreation assessment.
So a quick one that closes the 6th. So staff will be reviewing the proposals and ultimately bringing back a contract to the council for award of that. So that's good news. It's there.
Perfect. And agenda item 14, future commissioner GAS.
We, if I could, the gentleman who spoke during public comment, we don't respond, but this is kind of an opportunity. There's no way that's coming back for the next meeting if you ask staff, because we're just not going to be able to get there. While you're not giving direction, because it's not on the agenda, I would ask for your general concurrence to say, look, let's let staff sit down with the individual, talk through the issues. You know, I love Christmas Hill Park, but Christmas Hill Park is loaded with a lot of uses and a lot of folks, and I'm a little concerned about that interfering a bit with other activities going on. I'd love myself to see it at Los Animas. I'm sure they're probably focused there because they maybe live closer to Christmas Hill Park. I'm as a just a guess, but maybe not. But there's a lot of kind of unused area in Los Animas that certainly would seemingly make maybe for a better location for that. But we can certainly look at Christmas Hill, but with your general nod, we're happy to communicate, talk to the individual, work through that point and bring it back to the commission when it makes a sense to do so.
I think the only ask would be just to kind of give us an update.
Yeah.
You know, how that conversation went.
Yeah. I like his idea of a temporary where we don't set up the formal baskets and all. I think they're being very realistic about it, and certainly can want to work with them. And maybe the temporary makes sense at Christmas Hill. I just again worry a bit about it, but
So is this the part we can add agenda item? I don't know if we want to add it to the next week, the next meeting's agenda, but I think having like, maybe quarterly, I don't know what the cadence would be, but something where we can understand the budget first. We kind of talked about that last year.
I agree with you. I think we asked Andre to come back.
Yeah.
Give us an update. We should be investing in that because part of the budget that passed is we get, if there's any profit, we supposedly some money comes back to the Parks Rec, say that it wasn't clearly defined. But we should have an idea of where we stand from a budget perspective.
Yeah, I think that would be useful.
Just an update from the city staff on things, yeah.
If should we add that to our work plan, or should we add like a standing agenda, like?
so can I ask clarification? I assume we're talking about the citywide budget.
Right.
Okay. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, specifically Parks and Recreation and.
Well, but so I'll just say, focusing on the Parks and Rec budget gets you very little because there's really very little in terms of operating, and there's $500,000 each fiscal year for doing it, frankly, a pittance of work that we're doing and dealing with that, honestly. If you're interested in what's going on in the big picture, that maybe make more sense, because you're looking at trying to recoup around 25% from the citywide general fund balance at the end of the fiscal year. That's not going to come out of the pittance that is really for parks.
There is no Parks and Rec budget, right? It's part of the admin, it's part of under the general fund. So there's a few line items that specifically break out for certain things, but I think the overall sense of the budget and specific, if we have any specific question with the Parks and Rec, we can ask it. So
The assessment, and I'll say this, the assessment the rec assessment is going to be the lead into the question about staffing of recreation programming.
Yeah, and
That's gonna be
Yeah.
the big one. And that's, you know, my expectation is that recreation will be coming back and convening conversations with this commission to talk about that and kind of move that forward
Okay.
too.
One more thing, Commissioner, that's late. I just, for the sense of the two group, commission members, my personal feeling and the drive in the last 2-3 years towards all of this is that Gilroy, when my kids were little, had its own recreation park, had 15 people, it's a department. It wasn't a division. Right now, they're a division under the general, used to be its own separate department with its own department head, its own budget. So that's gone. So now we have a rec division that's got 4.5 people. And so.
yeah, 4 full-time
Okay,
employees.
so that's part of the purpose of.
So how often is the city council hitting budget review?
There's some that are quarterly, some that are monthly. I'll ask, I'm happy to ask Arjo, and I know he would commit to a quarterly update on that.
There we go. But I think it could be.
I think definitely towards like the end of the fiscal year, that would be more kind of like, labor per se, that's definitely something to keep on our radar, but I do like the quarterly option. How about we just do the quarterly option for now, because maybe
Yeah.
propose that to Arjo and just see what feedback he has from us, like we said, maybe it doesn't need to be quarterly. Great, anything else, commissioners, from agenda item 14, before we move forward and close out our meeting?
We need to like make a motion to have that agenda. That would need to happen here, make sure that.
You know, I think I saw a consensus to deal with that, if you're all right with it. Otherwise, you can make a motion and if there's, what I'd say is if there's consensus, no one's really arguing about it. If there's a little bit of disagreement, then I'd say make a motion and see if there's a majority who want to add something to a future agenda discussion. But this one seemed to be consensus based. Okay, let's take a look at our budget stuff and understand it.
Right. That concludes our meeting. The time is 8:01.
Call it 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Thank you all so much for your time.
Great job, Chair.
There is going to be a meeting on 117